So one of the best features of Prequilt is the fabric calculator. And for the Kona Colour Society members, this is going to be a great asset because not only will it tell you, do you have enough fabric for the bundle that you bought, a fat quarter or a half yard or a full yard, but how much more fabric might you need to order? So when we're here at the starter quilt, we can push on the fabric calculator button. And what that's going to do is open up a separate tab that shows you your quilt. If it doesn't show the most updated version of your quilt, you can just click on the update thumbnail and it'll update it. But here we can see that we have 5 different hourglass blocks and the quantities for each of them that we'll need. It also shows you the fabrics that you need as well. So Kona salmon, marmalade, terracotta, sand. That one is used by multiple fabric links, so it has more letters, but also butterscotch and black. When we click on the blocks tab, what you can see then is each of the blocks and it has its own blowout. And we can see with the fabric calculator that it's an hourglass. So we have pre-built equations built in to tell you how much fabric you need to create 2 at a time with trim or 2 at a time without trim. And it'll also tell you how many blocks you'll need for the entire quilt and then how many pieces you'll need to cut and at what dimensions. When you click down here at the fabric, this is where it's really helpful because you can see on the width of fabric how those pieces are going to be cut with the fabric that you have. It'll tell you how many inches you need, how many yards you need, and you can also change the width of fabric. So I know that the Workroom sells things in meters, so you might need to rely more on the inches instead of the yardage, but it is a very helpful tool in telling you how much you have or how much you'll need. So we'll need 2 yards of the sand, and I know that's probably beyond what we have built out in the bundle, depending on which one you order, as well as these use quite a bit. Now this one might be able to fit onto a fat quarter. When I change the width of fabric to 21, it's going to tell me that I need 28 inches or 0.78. So that is going to be more than what will fit onto the fat quarter that I got if I got the fat quarter bundle. So you might need to order some yardage to be able to cut these pieces. Because again, 28 inches. We can see here that these are maybe a little bit tighter. This will definitely fit onto the fat quarter that we have because I'll go to 21 inches and I can see that I only need 10 inches in length with a 21 inch width of fabric. So we'll have plenty of this black left over at the end after we cut out what we need. So we can go back to the design of the quilt and also change it a little bit to try and make sure that we have enough fabric. One way to do this, if you have a fat quarter bundle, is to reduce the size of the quilt. So I can change the number of columns and the number of rows, and when I update it, it's actually just going to delete all those extra columns and rows. And so when I click on the fabric calculator, it's going to update my new design and then tell me how much fabric I need for that new design. You can see here I need far fewer blocks than I needed in the last version of this quilt. And you can see now these are looking more and more like I can get them to fit on a quarter of fabric. So I can change the yardage to 21 with the fabric and immediately I can see, yes, that's definitely going to fit on my fat quarter because I'm going to have probably 18 inches in length. This sand probably won't, and that makes sense because we're using so much of it. So I might need to buy some yardage of that. But I can see here that when I do 21 and I accept it all, like I put it to all, this one might be pretty close. I might be able to fit it in because it's 19 inches. The Workroom sells things in meters, so I might get 19 and a half inches maybe. So depending on how it's cut, you might be able to fit all 4 of these squares on there. The terracotta, we definitely have enough. We definitely have enough of the marmalade. So that just kind of gives you an idea of not only will I have enough, maybe I need to be super careful with how I cut and trim some of these fat quarters. And then if I put it back to 42, it tells me maybe how much yardage I might need to buy from the workroom to be able to create this design. Another option that we have is you can go back and start redesigning. So instead of using so much of this Kona sand, we might want to start using maybe different fabrics, maybe some of those other fat quarters that we had that maybe I was shying away from. So then I can replace or change the fabric that's being used by the fabric link and to a different fabric and see maybe now will I have enough fabric if I use something a little bit different and I won't need to buy anything else. I'll be actually able to use the bundle that I received. So you can go back here to the fabric yardage and accept all, and now we can say 10 inches, that'll fit, 10 inches, that'll fit. This one again might be a little tight, so nothing changed in that one. So we're gonna need to measure out our fat quarter maybe very carefully and see what we can get away with. And then as we go down, the Kona sand, we'll definitely need to buy more of that because it will not fit on a fat quarter. But the terracotta, 10 inches, I'll have that, 10 inches, I'll have that, 10 inches, I'll have that. So you can just use this tool set as a way to really maximize and use what you have in the bundle.